So on that note, I'm going to jump into another caller. Let's see. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How about yourself?
I am good. I am good. I am good. So you have a question.
So, just to be clear, this is a question about anything pertaining to Scrum, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
don't
how
don't
would
don't
you?
ask me about cooking. I ain't gonna be able to help
Okay.
you.
All right. So, how would you say the best way to handle a difficult stakeholder would be?
Well, that depends, right? Because the question is, stakeholders have different levels of impact on you, right? The first question I would ask you is, does that stakeholder have an impact on your future? That's a question for you. You still there?
Uh, Yeah, I'm here. You
Does
still hear me?
does that stakeholder have an impact on your future?
I would. I mean, for the time that they're there, if I would say yes.
Okay. All right. Because here's the deal. Politics inside of corporate America, and I'm assuming you're talking about corporate America, politics is always a game that is going to be played. And I'm not going to tell you to play the political game because I don't play the political game. But the thing that you need to do is if you don't have the ability to be able to deal with that person directly, then you're probably going to have to get some help with that. The reason why I say that is because if you have one of the problems that you have is that you can't have conversations or protect your backside when you're not in a room with that person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so when they go in a room with someone else and they start having good conversations, then it could have an impact on you. My concern is if that person is a higher rank or higher level or higher title than you. That would be more my concern because that person at a higher rank, higher title, higher level can actually have conversations with their colleagues that could have an impact on you in terms of your career there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yep.
So that would be my concern for you. And I say that because if this is the type of stakeholder that could very well put you in a position where you can't get any more promotions, raises, titles, then I'm concerned. Do you have that fear?
Yes.
Okay. So now I have to say slow down a little bit, right? Because does this person support Scrum? Are they a Scrum person? Are they ready to do Scrum or not?
They are.
Okay. So now they're ready to do Scrum, which means you at least have a common language with them, right? So what's being difficult about them?
As far as say there's any barricades, like as far as them just working well with developers or getting what developers need in a timely manner, just their timing.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Have you sat down and had a conversation with them?
No.
Can now the next question I ask: can you sit down and have a conversation with them?
Um, yeah, but I think it's an intimidation factor.
Okay. Can you have a conversation with one of their colleagues that can have a conversation with them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to actually have a conversation with someone that can have a conversation with them. And what I want you to do is I want you to take a step back and I want you to go collect data. Data that shows how they are impacting what you all are doing moving forward. So,
Okay.
a good example of that is let's say we measured cycle time. How much time it takes to get something from a start place to ultimately some ending place delivered, whatever you want to call it, right? They're bottlenecking there somewhere, right? And wherever they are, that wait time, I want to be able to record. I want to record that wait time. Now, why do I want to record that wait time? Because what that really says ultimately is something really simple. If I have something that was going to take 10 days and you're taking 3 days to get me what I need to get, that means I could have delivered this in 7 days. So, can we find a way to get this bottleneck out the way? Can we find a way to get this person to make sure that they do things sooner for us? What can we do to actually position ourselves to be better? Okay? Does that make sense?
It really does.
Now, if you do that, now you're talking with data. Okay? I want you to have conversations with data because data's going to do one of two things. Data's going to make them go way, way left and be like, look, I'm really coming after you. But since they support Scrum, I don't think they're going to do that. But what data will do for them is show them where they're the problem without it being you showing them that they're the problem. Okay? And I want you to talk through data because data will help to protect you because that data should be agnostic. As long as you're not adding your flair to that data, as long as you're not adding your conversation around that data, then you should be fine in terms of that data standing on its own and you having a partner, a person of some kind. Make sure that they help you solve the problem. Okay? They actually help you solve the problem. And that's part of what you want to do. You want to get them to be your mouthpiece in this other arena with this particular person. Now, here's the wonderful thing. I would try my best if I was you to position myself where I can start having conversations with that person directly. Is that doable?
Yes.
Okay. Now, why do I say that? Because if you can have conversations with them directly, you can just go address the issue with them. You know, it's kind of one of those things where it's almost like I'm going to get permission from my folk. Like I'm going to get permission from my mama so I can go to my friend's mama's house so we can hang out. And we got to get permission from my friend's mama too. So that's what you're really, really doing. And then the mamas have a conversation to make sure that everybody's good, right? And so you need the mamas up there to have a conversation. That right there is what you're going through. But you need to go through that in the corporate world with data so you're protecting your tail end. You got to protect your backside here because it sounds like you want to be around there. It sounds like you want to do good work for them. And that's all a wonderful and great thing. But what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to put yourself into a political place where you're stuck in this jail that you can't really get out of. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So I don't want that to happen to you. That would suck, right? Because that's when you just decide to leave and do all these other things that you need to do because you have no way to progress, right? Anybody that's not gonna make any more money or get any more titles or do anything like that is due to leave any organization unless there's some other reason why you're staying. So my statement to you is data is going to help save you. Data is going to be your savior. But in all things, I am doing everything in my power, if I was you, to be able to have a one-on-one conversation with that person. Okay? Be able to have consistent conversations with that person. I want you to be able to go to that person with no issues, no problems. And since they understand Scrum, they understand about transparency. They understand about having face-to-face communication. They have way more understanding than someone who doesn't have that understanding. So you actually have an advantage. And I want you to actually find a way to take advantage of your advantage. Because if you take advantage of your advantage, you're going to be in a really good position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So it's and that right there, I'm not now trust me, I'm not saying this is easy. You hear me? I'm not saying it's easy. By no stretch of the imagination am I saying it's easy. By no stretch of the imagination am I saying to you that this is going to be something that flips and changes overnight. I'm not saying that at all. I know that it's likely going to be super easy or it's going to be really hard. It's probably not going to be any between, right? But I'm hoping that this is super easy for you since you do have somebody that understands. It's troublesome when you have people that don't understand. That's when it's a lot more trouble. That's when it's way more trouble than what you ever want it to be. So I want you to keep yourself safe. I don't want you to put yourself in a place where you're compromising your position. Take it from somebody who's been fired a few times. You don't want to be fired if you don't want to be fired, right? Okay? So you don't want to put yourself in that position, especially during COVID times, some people, it's hard finding some jobs right now. So keep your job, make sure you're good, and just try to work that thing out. But the good thing is, they actually have an idea what this community is about. That's going to help you probably more than anything else that would exist on a planet for you. So I think you're actually in a pretty sweet spot. I'm almost envious of you. You understand why I'm envious of you?
Why?
Because normally I don't have people who I need to go talk to that understand Scrum. Like, I literally don't have it normally is, I got to teach them Scrum, we got to battle about this, we got to talk about that, we got to talk about all these other things just to level set for us to have the conversation.
You got to start from scratch.
Yeah, and you don't have to start completely from scratch. And I'm the guy who literally, when I'm in a building, I will just walk to somebody's office and be like, hey, you don't know me, I heard your name, we need to talk. Like, your guy that you talking about, I would just go to his office and say, we need to talk. But if that's going to be death for you, don't do that. Don't do that. But people let me do it. People let me show up and just say, oh, you're the Agile guy. You're the Scrum guy. Yeah. What you think about Scrum? And start a conversation up. And once we start a conversation up, then I flip the conversation to something that don't have nothing to do with Scrum. Like, oh, look at your picture. How many kids you got, man? What kind of sports you put them in? Oh, I see that y'all doing this. And talk for about 30 minutes about nothing that I'm interested in. And then once we have that complete conversation about nothing I'm interested in, then I throw my thing out there to get what I want. You understand what I'm doing? Because again, you have to remember that people are people. And the one thing I learned at Disney, right, is that you can walk into somebody's house. You can walk into somebody's office, right? And you can ask them literally, look, I love you. I want to be just like you. And they could spend you make that one statement, they could spend the next 59 minutes talking about themselves. And then when you're done with that conversation, they feel like they know you. So you got to use these tricks of the trade to actually get what you desire. And one thing that happens for me often is I get what I desire because people think that they're doing it because they desire it. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
It's like the Jedi mind trick. You got to throw some Jedi mind tricks on them. You got to hit them with the Obi-Wan Kenobi. You don't know who I'm talking about. You don't know who I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about.
Okay, you better be like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Everybody should know who Obi-Wan Kenobi. If I said the Mandalorian, then I'd be like, okay, you welcome to not know who that is. But Obi-Wan, you got to know who Obi-Wan is and Luke Skywalker. If you don't know who that is, you definitely been on the rock for since 78.
I have a son who's into anime.
Now, anime, I got kids in anime. Come on now. They be my kids be like this. Look, why you gotta watch the subtitles? What?
Oh,
yeah. What? Come on, I don't feel like reading. No, it's just that thing. They have fun. They have a good time. So, did I answer your question? Are you good?
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely getting the data because, I think that makes them feel less that you're trying to force something on them because data doesn't lie. If this is for the benefit of everyone and we're all in agreement with Scrum, then we all want the same output. There
shouldn't be you like literally should not have a battle here. They know Scrum, you know Scrum. You talk to them about cycle time, and my conversation literally, I would walk in that door and be like, "Look, man, you messing with my cycle time." That's exactly what I would say. I say, "You messing with my cycle time." I'd be like, "What?" And if they don't know what cycle time is, then I explain it to them, and I say, "This is how you messing up my cycle time. Can we talk about this and figure this out?" And we just joke about it and just keep it moving. So that's probably how I would handle it. I know how I would handle it. But again, data is a very, very, very safe and good approach. Trust me.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Jamal.
All right then. I think you're good then. I want to appreciate. Thank you for coming. Thank you for asking your question. Again, we're going to be here every single Monday from 8. So you are welcome to come back, ask more questions. But other than that, I'm gonna say to you, look, you make sure you have the most amazing night. Okay?
Oh, thank you. So you do the same, okay?
I will. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Boom boom boom. Okay, people. Oh, let me switch this up. All right, so I think we're in a good place. I think we're in an excellent place, people. I think we have made it to our ending.